and we won't have to cry no more.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tips in 60. I'm your host, Sharian Blagrove, here to tell you some tips on how to cope with your mental health. The first thing you could do is to talk to someone. You know your favorite person? Hit them up, give them a call. The second thing you could do is make that connection. You're talking to someone online. Link up. Down by Beechwood Avenue, link up, okay? Meet them face to face. Have a connection. See if the connection is there face to face. The third thing you could do is to find something that appeals to your senses. You know, you have five senses. You can find something that really helps you to relax. The fourth thing you could do is to take up a relaxation practice. So, some people are into yoga. You might be into walking. You never know. And the last and final tip for this segment is to stay active. What do I mean by stay active? Simple. Exercises, taking walks, you know, keeping your body fit. It will help you to deal with stress, anxiety, improve your mental health, and by extension, help you to sleep better. That was Tips in 60. I'm your host, Sharian Blagrove. Walk good.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Explorer Through the Lens segment. I am your host, Akeem Orrett, and today we are here with Miss Daley, the daily communicator and the chair of the DCS of NCU. But before we get into the interview, let me introduce Through the Lens to you. So, Through the Lens segment is part of the Explorers where we look on more than just the face value of an individual, sharing their stories in a safe space, whether it be childhood trauma or marital issues. Yeah, so that is Through the Lens. And as I said before, we are here with Miss Daly. Good day to you, Miss Daly. Welcome to Through the Lens.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, so Miss Daly, we know you as the daily communicator and the chair of DCS, but who is Noreen Daly?
All right, so the daily communicator really covers the three things that I focus on outside of my academic life, which is I'm a podcaster, I'm a host or an MC, and I'm also a communication coach, whether written or spoken, hence the daily communicator. My tagline for that is engaging, empowering, exceptional.
Engaging,
Empowering,
empowering,
exceptional.
exceptional.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
So, what was Noreen's childhood like?
Hmm. Hmm. I believe I had a fun childhood growing up. I was always the little one in the household. We always had not just those in the immediate family like brothers or sisters, but they're always like cousins or just people boarding because our house very close to NCU, West Indies
Mm.
College back in the day. So we always had a lot of persons in the household. So because of that, as the baby, I don't believe I was spoiled, Akeem. I don't believe so, but I believe to a large degree I was I felt loved throughout my childhood. I'm not one of those that are gonna say, "Oh, I had a traumatic childhood," because that would be a big disservice to my parents that are both deceased. So, I enjoyed school throughout. That has always been something that I enjoyed. I was very active in church coming up. One of the things that I did a lot growing up was singing. I don't do it as much now, but I had a good childhood. I'll say that I had a good childhood.
Awesome. So you said you had a good high school experience.
hmm
Tell us about that experience.
In high school, I believe I was always part of a group. I don't remember how many of us would quote unquote hang out, but I was, because I was in certain subjects, I was doing, I guess, okay. I don't know if some of my high school classmates say I was a teacher, but I don't think so. But I believe I remember distinctly for 2 consecutive teachers' day, no, students' day it would be called in high school. I taught history. Or was it English? I don't remember because that's a long time ago. I finished high school in '86, so you can understand. Some of you weren't even thought of yet. But anyway, but I remembered that I actually taught that. And now looking back, Akeem, maybe it is that was a signal to me that I was going to end up teaching. As I said, I throughout high school, I was also in a singing group. So I sang a lot. I remember we actually entered JCDC at one point as a singing group and got something. So yeah. Life's been pretty good. When I look back at my high school years, and a lot of my, well, let me say a lot, but some of my very good friends are from prep school or high school. So even the other day, a couple of us got together and we said, growing up, you would hear your parents saying, oh, we've been friends for 30, 40 years. We're there now because a lot of us are like 50 and over now. So it's been an interesting journey.
Awesome. So that Miss Daly sings, still. Anyways, you said that you like teaching. Well,
Hmm.
in high school you taught history,
Like
and
for Students' Day.
right. So, what was your journey to communications like?
All right. So when I started college in 1990, no, in 1986,
Mm-hmm.
at the time I wanted to major in history, English, and communication. But at the time, they didn't have enough communication credits for me to do that because I actually wanted to do what I call a general studies degree. So since that didn't happen, I ended up doing history with a minor in English. When it became time for me to do my master's, NCU needed, because they were expanding the communication, they wanted more persons trained in that area. I got the opportunity courtesy of NCU because they paid for the master's, and I went away, and that is when I actually ended up doing a degree that's called a master's in interdisciplinary studies. So communication is my major area with English as a minor area. So that is where it started. But I really wanted to do it from college days. Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
So, being on that journey, you
Mhm.
started the communications
Mhm.
journey.
Mhm.
What are some of the challenges you have had since you started?
Hmm. Mm. Some of the challenges. I, looking back,
Hmm.
let me tell you why I'm pausing to answer that, because at this age in my life, there are very few things now that I see as challenges because I see a lot of them now as lessons.
Hmm.
So I don't know if I'd see it as a challenge because I have always sought to learn from others, people who I look to as mentors. So I'm not sure. Looking back, I'd say I can think of a challenge per se. It was not so hard transitioning because when I went away to study and I returned, one of the first courses I had to teach in terms of communication courses was oral communication, which I no longer teach. And it's been an interesting journey. I really can't think of a challenge. And I'm not gonna make something up.
Right.
No, I really can't think of a challenge at this point. No. Mm-mm,
Right. So you
mm-mm,
cannot think of a
mm-mm,
challenge because you
mm-mm.
said they are lessons
Yes, I
instead
now
of
see them as lessons.
challenges.
Yes.
And I read that in your profile,
Mm-hmm.
you like to empower young people. You
Mm.
are you are all about elevating
I
young
am. I
persons.
am. I
In
am.
what ways do you empower young people?
Okay. Well, in let me talk about the other life and then I get to the academic life. So in the other life, in terms of the podcasting, one of the things that I do is have real and open conversations about relationships. And more often than not, I don't think we are open enough with our young people. I try to be a quote unquote mother or aunt or these the other people so they're able to open up and I can share from my own experiences and I try to be real with people. In terms of the academic or the professional, in terms of cheer as DCS, I am always seeking opportunities to ensure that anybody under my quote unquote care, it's not just about your professional life, but that you also learn certain things in terms of the soft skills.
Hmm.
So anytime any opportunity presents itself for any student in DCS to hone their professional craft, I'm all about that. And any way that I can help them to grow and develop, I do that, whether directly or indirectly. So for me, I see myself as somebody who has been literally called to do that. So I try. Even in my classes, I'll sometimes I shift. I don't well shift slightly and have certain conversation, allow people to vent and get things out. Because I think more often than not, as young people, y'all don't have a whole lot of safe spaces to let certain things out. So I try to be that for people.
Awesome, and I do agree that we don't have a lot of safe spaces for individuals or for persons to share their stories, especially students,
Yes,
right? And at the university level, we all need somebody to vent to, and it's good that, as a communicator, as a lecturer,
I
we can
try. I try.
vent to
I
you.
try.
Awesome.
Mhm.
So, you're a podcaster,
Mhm.
an event host, the
Mhm.
daily communicator.
Mhm.
What is this podcast all about?
Well, I said it earlier. It's all about relationships. It's called Making It Last podcast. So it's really helping people to have better relationships, not just with themselves, but with other people. So I talk, and it's relationships from siblings, what happens, siblings, family relationships, romantic relationships, workplace relationships, even in terms of their spiritual relationships right across the board. And I try to get people who are experts and also people just sharing from their own experiences. So from some months ago, I had a counseling psychologist talking about the whole idea of suicide, and if you think somebody's heading in that direction, what are the signs to look for? I've had persons talking about just how even at the workplace, how to try not to get burnt out. So yes, and I specifically wanted that topic to be dealt with because you spend most of your life at work.
Mm-hmm.
I've had people talking about the fact that they're a blended family. So somebody who got married, you had children before and another one, and then how all of that dynamics work when from two separate families basically you come together. So it's really a variety of topics. We try to be real and open and allow people to just give other persons advice in terms of how to better their relationships.
Awesome. So, how do we connect with the podcast? How do we connect with you?
Well, it's on YouTube. It's on YouTube and it's also on a hosting platform called Podomatic. Well, you can always look for Making It Last on YouTube, on my YouTube channel.
Awesome. So,
Mhm.
the question before we go,
Mhm.
as budding media practitioners,
Mhm.
what advice would you give to to us in terms of having challenges going onward?
Hmm. Hmm. Just be open and learn from others. I think more often than not, sometimes some of you, and let me say this carefully, some of you because you think that you have now learned and you're now at university, you enter a space and act as if you know everything.
Mhm.
You need to stop that. Just be open to learn from others who have gone on that road before you. That is all I will say. Just be open. And once you're open, you just never know what opportunities could present themselves.
Awesome. We must learn to take constructive criticism.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
So we have been talking with Miss Noreen Daley, and that is it for To the Lens segment.
Thank you
Miss
so much for
Daley,
having
thank
me.
you for accepting and thank you for coming on To the Lens. All right, I've been your host, Akeem Orrett. Until next time, stay safe and be blessed.